Ladies and gentlemen, the Arrowhead Innovation Fund is thrilled to welcome you to the first AIF online pitch competition. My name is Garrett Weinzierl. I run a small business creating online content as well as podcasts. I'm also a video producer with Arrowhead. I will be your MC for this event. This is a brand new event that creates an amazing opportunity for the entrepreneurs in our state to connect with angel investors, venture capitalists, key ecosystem players here in our region, and compete for awards. Before we jump into specifics about the competition, let's take a moment to talk about the Arrowhead Innovation Fund, or as we like to call it, AIF. AIF is a venture capital fund focused on seed and early stage investments to commercialize promising technologies developed and or licensed by New Mexico startup companies. AIF is a general fund and will primarily focus on New Mexico's regional strengths in agriculture, biotechnology, health, devices, information technology, engineering, energy, and water technology industry sectors. AIF evaluates opportunities vis-a-vis stage of development, capital efficiency, and industry dynamics. Now, criteria AIF favors include technologies and teams that are headquartered in New Mexico, with the majority of its operations established in New Mexico, which is actually a requirement of AIF investors, and are coachable and passionate entrepreneurs who want to grow and scale their company. Now, you're in for a treat today because you're going to get a peek at some really innovative new business ideas. So let's take a moment and introduce our 2021 School of Judges, who will be deciding who walks away with some of these amazing awards. First up is Beto Payeras. Beto holds the Bill and Sharon Sheriff Chair in Entrepreneurship at NMSU's College of Business and is the director of the Arrowhead Innovation Fund and a Kauffman Fellow. Mr. Payeras also founded Joseph Advisory Services and Cowork Oasis in El Paso. Continuing on with our judges, Samara Hernandez is an early stage investor at Math Venture Partners and founding partner at Chingona Ventures. Drew Tolchin, president of New Mexico Angels and co-founder of Mansa Capital Management. We have Dan Brooks, senior associate at Sun Mountain Capital. Griselda Martinez is here, director at City of Las Cruces Economic Development Department. Jeff Villalobos, senior attorney at Vela Wood. Mariah Tamar, director of the Office of Science and Technology at New Mexico Economic Development Department. David Kiston, manager of technology and economic development at Sandia National Laboratories. And Julia Wise, manager of the New Mexico Small Business Assistance Program at Los Alamos National Laboratories. And now we're going to talk about the awards. First place is going to win a $5,000 cash award, free New Mexico Angels membership for 1 year. This is the entrepreneurs level, valued at $400. 6 months free of office rent at Arrowhead Park, $120,000 in IBM cloud credits, $25,000 in Amazon Web Service credits, 100 hours of prototyping design services. This is 3D design. Investment readiness preparation sessions with New Mexico Angels, and our first place winner will join Arrowhead Ventures. As for second place, they will win $2,500 worth of provisional patent application or trademark filing services with O&L Patents, free New Mexico Angels membership for 1 year, 3 months of free of office rent at Arrowhead Park, $120,000 in IBM cloud credits, 50 hours of prototyping services. Second place will also join Arrowhead Ventures. Finally, third place will win $1,500 in attorney's fees relating to advising on business entities and intellectual property matters with Blanco, Ordonez, Mata, and Weschler PC. They also win free New Mexico Angels membership for 1 year, $25,000 in Amazon Web Service credits, 50 hours of prototyping design, and they will also join Arrowhead Ventures. Now, there are some rules, and I'm going to summarize them. No one in the audience is being solicited for investment in any way. There will be a 5-minute pitch presentation for our participants. There will then be 10 minutes for questions and answers with our judges. All judges will score the participants, but not necessarily every judge will have comments for every participant. And there will be a timer to help keep us on track. After the first 5 minutes, you're going to hear a single ding. It'll sound like this. This means that you should wrap up your pitch presentation so that you have a full 10 minutes for Q&A with our judges. A double ding is the warning for 1 minute remaining. If you hear that, that means there's 1 minute left. And at this point, judges will have a chance for final questions or comments. Participants, you may ask for any type of assistance. We're doing this over Zoom. If there's an issue or two, let us know. Participants will also be evaluated following AIF's investment criteria, which is that the technology is ready for advanced prototype development, testing, or commercial development, that it has important and sustainable points of differentiation, including but not necessarily protected intellectual property, that there is a compelling value proposition for an identifiable and measurable client and an achievable strategy for capturing a significant market share, and a market opportunity sufficiently large enough to create a business with revenue projections similar to comparable venture-backed companies. Now, as for some general instructions for the participants, if you are presenting, we ask that you please keep your camera on, as well as during the Q&A section. That's another area we would like you to keep your camera on. And now if you are not presenting, that's when we would ask that you please turn your camera off. If your camera's on, you will be on stream. Now, let's move forward. Please help me in welcoming our first presenter of the night, Bill Goodman with Goodman Technologies. Goodman Technologies LLC is introducing a cross-cutting agile nanoforestry composite manufacturing to reduce scrap, rework, and repair for sustainment of aircraft. Bill Goodman, I'm going to ask that you please share your presentation on screen. And once you are sharing your presentation and you're ready, I'm going to start the timer and the floor will be yours. All right.
All right.
Are you ready? Great. I'm going to start the timer. You're going to, for about half a second, you're going to hear a clock tick down. The timer is starting now.
Hi, I'm Bill Goodman. I'm president and CEO of Goodman Technologies, a 4.5-year-old space, aerospace, defense, and commercial startup. We also have 1-year-old GT Nano. And as mentioned, what I'm going to talk to you today about is nanoforestry technology, the first patent pending orthogonal nanoforest technology on the planet Earth today. And here's the pictures of the very first nanoforest and their incorporation into relevant composite materials for jet aircraft. And in a moment, but not right now, I'm going to let the judges ask me some questions, but I have a couple of questions for you. What would it mean if you could dramatically improve the performance of composites without increasing the cost? What would that do for your customer? What would it do to your competition? And I'll tell you, here's the value proposition. Nanoforestry acts like nano Velcro. It prevents the layered composites from unzipping and peeling apart. It's multifunctional. That means that it provides a number of different property improvements. It increases strength. It increases toughness. And it has lots of other great properties too. It's multi-directional. That means that it strengthens the composites in plane as well as transverse to the layers. And what does this do? It removes significant manufacturing and sustainment cost for these jet aircraft. It reduces the amount of rework, scrap, and repair, and it therefore pays for itself. And if you remember the 80s and 90s, there was a commercial that looked something like this. GT doesn't make the airplane, we make the airplane parts better. Here on the screen, you see 3 recent results for composites that are relevant to today's jet fighter airplanes. In one case, we improved the toughness by 62%, in another 20%, and in the third by almost 30%. Now, nanoforestry can improve many different types of composite systems, and can be used in all of these various processes that you see here and some that aren't even listed. So it can be game changing for many, many different composite applications. Here's our ladder of proof. Customer need. We've won 11 phase 1 SBIRs, 5 phase 2s. We have 3 phase 2s pendings. These are for the Army Research Lab, the Army Research Office, the Air Force, the Nuclear Weapons Center, for NASA, for the Office of Naval Research, for the Missile Defense Agency. And there's a huge market. You can see in the table here, when you look at the TAM and the SAM, they're numbered in the billions of dollars. And there are multiple product verticals on the left there. And these equate to a very service obtainable marketplace for our spin-off GT Nano. And you can see that the customers like it. These are quotes from system prime contractors. This is definitely a scalable product. And I'll show you on our business model canvas that we have channel partnerships identified. This provides low cost of acquisition for the customer base. And this is definitely a business, not just a singular product. It applies to lots of different materials. So on the bottom right, we got a great team of people. We have Dar Johnson, our SCORE mentor. He was a 2020 Legacy Award winner by the SBA. We have Mark King, a former vice president, Ceradyne Armor Systems. We have Mark Obermuller, who is the president of Vista Business Group, for which I'm the tech partner. And then there, of course, is me, and I was New Mexico's 2020 Small Business Administration Business Person of the Year for the state of New Mexico. Now, what does this all mean? I'll tell you. This could be a unicorn. Here's the business model canvas, and on the right, you can see many customer segments identified. We have spelled out what the customer relationships are. We can be a tier 3 supplier. We will work with buyers from the major system primes. There are multiple channels: distributor, direct sales, licensing, and partnering with other companies and doing joint ventures. Our cost structure is such that we have all C-levels, business development, manufacturing engineers. There's capital equipment. This is manufacturing, which is one of the key things that the presidents in past have wanted to see. We also have our own laboratory, and we have filed more than 11 patents with Peacock Law. Here's what the business hierarchy looks like. There'll be a commercial LLC, which rents to both Goodman Technologies and GT Nano and any other spinouts that come out. Goodman Technologies supplies the key IP. We can license it to GT Nano and other key partners. So here again, we got strategic partners, JVs, contracts, manufacturing, and really there's 2 overlapping product lines, and that's nanoforest and nano composites. And we've been bootstrapping right now. We've had over 5.4 million in seed to date. And finally, I'll just leave with another question. Does your mission require materials that can survive the most extreme environments, space, nuclear, hypersonic, and/or deep cryo? How great would it be to have a material tailored to your requirements? Ask us how. Our advanced manufactured nanocomposites can provide mission assurance for you. And thank you very much for your time and attention today. God bless America. I don't hear anything.
We'll open it up to the judges from here.
Bill, I'll go first, and just want to ask, with what's the low-hanging fruit in terms of the next market that adopts this and makes it a commercial winner?
So when we add carbon nanotubes to a composite material, one of the multifunctional properties is electrical conductivity. So this work all started out for the Air Force and the Air Force Nuclear Weapons Center as shielding. So this material is being looked at for shielding by multiple commercial companies for electronic systems, by NASA for space systems, and of course by the Air Force.
Great. One more question. Is the manufacturing process electrospinning, melt blown, or a different proprietary approach?
None of the above. So we actually grow the nanoforest, and we can grow it directly on fabrics that go in the composite, or we can grow it directly onto prepregs, which already have the matrix material incorporated.
Thank you.
Hi, Bill. It's Mariah Tomer. I have a question. Who are the competitors in this space? And is there anything out there that's comparable, or what's being used currently?
Well, hi, Dr. Tomer. Nice to see you. What I'll say is that on our we did a Navy phase 1, and there were 5 companies that started, and there was only one that got invited to phase 2, and that was Goodman Technologies. And some of those are very large companies that have been making composites for years. People like Cornerstone Research, Touchstone Research, a number of others. There are lots of composite companies all around. But the people who are interested in us are big companies like Hexcel.
This is Dan Brooks. Something along. Oh, go ahead, David.
Oh, right on. Hey, this is David Kiston. I have a question. You have the slide in there about the unicorn. So I just want to ask, how does this become a $1 billion company?
Okay, great. So the first thing that needs to be done is to purchase the capital equipment for a pilot plant. And so we're working with our SCORE mentor and other advisors to figure out the strategy to do that. Once we're generating cash flow from the pilot plant, and we're actually making transition products on multiple SBIRs, then this is really going to take off. And in combination with licensing, there you'll have a passive revenue stream that can come in so that we can help ourselves too. But we are looking to spin out companies that are investment ready. They're set up as LLCs right now. We have a great business attorney, Candace Owens. And so we will figure out the best way to take those spin outs and get the investors involved and put some rocket fuel into the companies.
Gotcha. Thanks.
And to that point, when you think of long-term exit strategy and the way that you return capital for investors, who are the natural acquirers? Do you foresee an acquisition occurring at the parent company level or those subsidiary spin-out companies? How do you think about that?
So Goodman Technologies will always remain a family business doing R&D. I got some young men here at home that are proud to carry the family name. But the other spin-offs, they can grow on their own. But again, I envision that they are going to have equity investors in them. And in fact, in some conversations that we've been having over the past couple of months, there are those that are interested in juicing it up with investment, bringing in a management team and taking things to the over-the-counter space and then letting it, go from there.
Thank you for this. I have a quick follow-up question from David's. When you talk about spin-outs in the future, are you looking at this as creating multiple product lines with your current application and spinning those out? Or what are the spin-outs you're referring to?
I'll give you an example. So GT Nano is set up as the company that will do the manufacturing of nanoforested composites, as well as 3D and additively manufactured nanocomposite materials. One of the ones that we're looking at starting is GT Space. And we have finished one NASA phase 2, have another NASA phase 2 that's finishing up. We've had about 7 NASA contract vehicles. We almost had a phase 2E, but an investor cowered it out. And at any rate, CubeSats, there's one of the things we're looking at for GT space. There's also large optics, and we were part of a Lockheed Martin team for NASA that looked at in-space advanced manufacturing. So we hope to be doing things outside the atmosphere in the next couple of years.
Bill, this is Griselda Martinez. For the options that you're looking at, which one would be the one with the most potential for shortest timeline to hit the market?
Oh, GT Nano is the first in line.
And what would be the timeline to that technology?
So GT Nano, we started March 2020. It's set up in System for Award Management. It has a bank account, and we are currently looking at key players that we can bring on board in late 2020. We're waiting for other proposals to get funded, which will provide us the overhead to allow us to hire some of these people and consultants too.
We are in our last minute. Any final thoughts from the judges?
This is Beto. Quick question, Mr. Goodman. Have any of your companies raised outside equity financing in the past?
Companies that I have worked for, yes, but not any of the GT lines.
Got it.
We did get New Mexico Small Business Assistance in 2017, 2018, and 2019. The government had to pull back the money.
Understood.
Bill, thanks for being our first one. Just to close, is there anything you didn't get a chance to share that you wish you had, or that doesn't fit into a presentation that it's important for judges to know about?
No, I'm looking forward to hearing what the other people have to say, and wishing them luck in their business, no matter how this comes out today. I was delighted to be here with you all. I do want to say that New Mexico Fast and some of the other companies that we have around here, the PTAC, the Small Business Development Corporation, we have everything that a small business needs here in New Mexico to be successful. And I recommend that if you're a small business, you reach out to some of these organizations, just as I have.
Thank you very much, Bill Goodman. Judges, please submit your scores while I introduce our next presenter. Our next presenter is Sydney Lieneman with Upcycle Power. Upcycle Power aims to bring affordable energy storage to commercial and industrial customers, as well as clean energy developers, by safely and efficiently redeploying used electric vehicle batteries for stationary storage at 30% less cost and 90% fewer greenhouse gas emissions than new batteries. Sydney, please go ahead and share your presentation on screen and let me know when you're ready, because once you are, I'll go ahead and start the timer.
Okay, I think I'm ready.
Okay, I can't. Oh, there it goes. Okay, wonderful. All right, I'm going to start the timer and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. So hi, my name is Sydney Linneman and my startup is called Upcycle Power. And we may aim to make energy storage sustainable and easy by reusing retired electric vehicle batteries. So just to start, this is my 2009 Toyota Prius. Its battery is relatively small by EV standards, 8 kilowatt hours. But even after 10 years of driving, it would have enough energy to run my fridge for 12 hours. Now, when an electric vehicle reaches the end of its life, its battery likely still has 80% of its original capacity. And that's a lot of value that might otherwise end up in the recycling bin or potentially a landfill. So we know that to stave off the worst of climate change, we need to make huge investments in stationary energy storage. And that's because renewable energy tends to be intermittent. So that means it's generated when the sun is shining or the wind is blowing, and energy storage allows you to use that energy when you need it or potentially provide backup power during, say, a giant power outage. Globally, the market for energy storage is likely to be about $600 billion over the next two decades. And incredibly, about half of the demand for stationary energy storage can be met by used EV batteries. But the thing about these used batteries is they're older, right? They're going to have a shorter shelf life than, say, if you were to go out and buy a Tesla Powerwall. They're also more likely to have something break. Our unique solution is to lease these batteries to our customers for a monthly fee. This will offer our customers the performance and safety of new batteries at 30% lower cost and 50% fewer carbon emissions than a new battery. And there are going to be hundreds of millions of used EV batteries that are getting pulled out of cars over the next decade. And some of them are going to be in really good shape and some of them won't. And we're interested in building a system that can assess battery health quickly, deploy them in a modular system that allows our customers to scale up or down based on needs, and then monitor them in operation and replace them when their performance approaches a predefined retirement criteria. But all that our customers are going to see is a dashboard that might look something like this, letting them know that everything is performing well, that their system is saving them money or is able to provide backup power should they need it. Our business model is really built around this idea of efficient and an accurate assessment tool for determining battery health. So we've applied for a National Science Foundation grant with NMSU to develop the machine learning assessment protocol that will allow us to quickly and efficiently assess battery health and perform in-operation monitoring. We're going to seek a patent protection for this model and assessment protocol. And over the next 12 months, we're really focused on advanced prototype development. So when we think about who is our customer are commercial and industrial sector and government entities with really high energy bills who are looking to, say, avoid demand fees from their utility or consume more of their on-site solar or have backup in case of an outage. And for each of these, energy storage can save them money in the long term, but high upfront capital costs make it hard to predict a return on investment. And that return on investment, frankly, can be highly dependent on utility pricing structures, which are changing a lot. And this is the main reason why the energy as a service market broadly is growing in popularity. We see that consumers want turnkey, predictable solutions rather than having to deal with giant capital investments upfront or operations for themselves. So as utility rate structures become more friendly to storage, which is a thing that we know is going to happen as an essential component of getting to our clean energy goals, this kind of energy storage as a service model becomes more attractive to both our investors and also customers. And this is the reason why we predict that second life energy storage as a service could be worth more than $1 billion by 2030. Now, in thinking about our competitors, there's obviously new battery companies like Tesla, and Tesla's products will be more expensive, certainly, but also have an higher environmental footprint from mining new raw materials and energy-intensive manufacturing. And there are definitely people who are interested in this idea of second life batteries, but they're very focused on selling batteries, and we are the only company that are looking at second life battery leasing. And the problem with selling these batteries is you have to be able to define pretty exactly how long they'll be in operation and provide a warranty for that period of time. And accurately predicting an individual battery's remaining useful life really is a complicated thing to do and very expensive. Our model lets us rent these batteries out, meaning we only really need to predict their battery health over a much shorter timeline. So our growth strategy is to perform model development with NMSU over the next year and have an advanced prototype and pilot project ready for development by the end of 2022. And this is obviously hugely ambitious, but I will say in the last year, we've gone from an idea to participation in the Arrowhead Energy Sprint Accelerator. We've established partnerships with Ford and NMSU and Sandia through the New Mexico Small Business Assistance Program. And we've applied for this small business technology transfer grant and hope to begin research work on that this summer. So we've come really, really far in a really short period of time. And I think we've also really assembled the right team with the right solution to address some really vexing societal challenges, which are the growing demand for energy storage, and also this massive growth in e-waste that's going to result from electrifying the transportation sector. So I, as the founder, have a PhD in chemical physics. I've spent the last decade working on energy access and energy storage policy in the Senate and Department of State. And this is my first startup, and also this is my first pitch. But as hopefully you can tell, I'm incredibly excited about this idea and the progress we've made. So with that, thank you so much for your time and the invitation to be part of this pitch competition. It's really an honor. I was so impressed with Bill's presentation. That technology is so cool. So thank you so much, and I look forward to your questions.
We'll open it back up to the judges.
I have a couple of questions. One is just really basic. What happens to the batteries now?
So that's a really good question. So right now, they largely go to recyclers, and what recyclers mean isn't maybe what you think it means. So they're largely shredded, and some portion of the sort of metals that you need might go back into a new battery, but a lot of it is going to create something called a black mass, which just goes into a waste. The EU and Japan have kind of strict recycling guidelines that they're starting to implement, as does California, which will change the market for these things, I think, pretty dramatically. But right now, a lot of them are still ending up in waste streams. And for the metals that are recycled, it's very expensive. It's like $4 a kilowatt hour to get that material back out.
Okay, and then out of curiosity, would there need to be changes to any particular infrastructure in order to run them off of these second life batteries? I mean, like, could I plug my fridge into it now? Sorry, that's a rudimentary way of looking at it, but beyond government institutions and the big ones, would I as a person need to make any significant investment into my infrastructure, or is it pretty much off the shelf? And we're just looking for the right solution?
So you would definitely need an electrician, in the same way that if you were to get a Tesla power wall, like you couldn't just kind of, you need someone to do that installation. And so these will need some kind of changes in configuration. Our business model is really looking at minimizing how much of a change in configuration you need as a way to reduce those assessment costs, which can be up to 70% of a battery's lifetime cost.
Awesome, thanks.
I had a question in regards
I have a quick question. Sorry, dude.
No worries. Just in regards to the unit economics of these batteries, when you look at the cost to acquire these batteries for their second life, how long do you have to be leasing them in that service model before you break even on a given battery or a package of batteries?
So that's a great question. And because the EV market is pretty, like by car standards, pretty new, there aren't a ton of them on the market yet. But if we look at right now where those EV batteries are, the salvage price is between $20 and $100 a kilowatt hour, depending on the state of health of the battery and how much information you know about it. We think that we can recover the full cost if they're deployed after 3 years by renting them to our customer. And we think that on average, they will last between 6 and 10 years.
Sydney, I have a question about the subscription. What does that look like? What's the cost of the subscription, or what are you thinking?
That's a really good question. And so it really depends on the subscription model and what the consumer needs. So if you're someone who just wants, you're a small business and you want backup power for your home that you're going to use, or for your business, and you're going to use it once a year when there's a power outage to make sure you don't lose stuff on your database, that cost is going to be a lot less than, say, if you're a big company and you're cycling your battery every day because you want to use the solar that you generate during the day at night. So on the order of probably like hundreds of dollars a month, but we anticipate our customers being able to save money on demand charges so that they will break even on these things. It will be worth the monthly fee.
Sydney,
you thought about the customer? Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say you did a great job for your first pitch. As someone that is not super technical and doesn't invest in super high-tech things, you did fantastic. So thank you for that. Just a quick question on, I believe you said your first customers are more commercial types of customers versus individuals. So can you talk through who your first 3 customers would be, and then what your revenue model, what you propose your revenue model will be?
Yeah, absolutely. So my idea for the first customer is a DC fast charging company. So DC fast chargers are EV chargers that you can charge your car 80% of the way in 30 minutes. And the problem with this is you're using a lot of power, right? And so there can be demand charges from the utility who they don't like to see big spikes in power. And so we think that we can pretty immediately, because these DC fast charge companies are looking at their demand charges every day, we think we can pretty immediately propose to them a way to save them money by deploying these batteries, in part because they're 30% less expensive than, say, a new battery system, and they're using new battery systems now to help them break even. Something I talked about in the pitch is utility pricing structures are going to move in the direction of making these things more affordable, making behind the meter storage more affordable, because it helps them as they have more solar on people's roofs. They don't want backfeed. They don't want you to generate extra electricity that's going back onto the grid. It's not good for their technology or their business. And so the more you can self-consume renewables, or the more that you can kind of smooth out what the demand charges look like, the better it is for the utility. So they're going to move in the direction of making it more economical to do storage. And so that's kind of the first customer I had in mind. The second customer that I had in mind would be a small commercial or industrial customer that maybe also sees these demand charges, but perhaps has solar on their roof, and they're interested in self-consuming more of that solar and seeing less of those demand charges. And we think that through our pricing model, we'll be able to help them see the benefits of energy storage for their break-even point much faster. And sorry, you had a second question too, and then I got very excited about talking about utility pricing structure, as I often do. So
great. No, that's great. You answered it. Thank you.
Okay, great.
So just curious, is there a big enough market? I mean, so you're talking about the first customers. Is there a big enough market in New Mexico for you to start here, or are you thinking about other states, other areas?
No, I think that there's a big enough market here. So I'm really focused on the Southwest region for a couple of reasons. One, we're kind of growing in the number of EVs that we have. And if you were to include Texas and Arizona and potentially Southern California in that area, we've got plenty. And so that's kind of the first reason that I think New Mexico is a great place to hub this business. And the second reason is we have a ton of solar here, and we have a utility that's transitioning to trying to be 100% carbon free. And it's going to be really hard to do that without huge investments in storage. And so, kind of for those two reasons combined, and I think there is a huge market here. And in our customer interviews, we really heard that people in the know, solar developers and small businesses, they know that there's going to be storage as ubiquitous as solar in the next 5 years, and we think this is the model that will help people get there.
This is Beto, and I'll just add a question/comment. I'm really intrigued by the model of using the algorithms to develop basically some software around the energy usage, the life of the cycle life of a battery. But I'm concerned that could be compromised because you have an asset-heavy business where you have to go and get the batteries, figure out how to redeploy them, track them, and so on and so forth. So I would encourage you to think about the value proposition focusing on the software end of the business and how that becomes something that you manage and control without getting into the asset-heavy part.
Yeah, I think that's really fantastic advice. And one of the things that we've been thinking about too, as we consider what our commercialization strategy is are there companies that are already in the assessment and kind of logistics space? and can help us by providing the second life batteries early on. And then we're really focused on that customer experience and the in-operation monitoring, so that we know when we need to change those batteries and when they're doing fine and, you know, can hang out for a while.
Great. Well, we're past our last minute. Any final thoughts from the judges? All right. Wonderful. Sydney, thank you so much. Great presentation.
Thank you all.
Judges, please go ahead and begin submitting your scores. Our next presenter is Tom Florin with The Lavender Farm. From the debilitating effects of eczema to car accidents and botched spinal surgery, Lavender Farm designs life-altering products as a remedy for relief from many of life's ailments. The Lavender Farm understands the necessity to take care of the skin's inner health, all the while allowing one's beauty to shine. Tom, please go ahead and begin sharing your presentation on screen. Once you're ready, I'm going to start the timer and you may have the floor.
Okay, can everyone see my screen?
Not yet. There was a bit of a delay before.
How about that?
No, still not up, Tom.
Still not up. Okay, let's see here.
Okay, looks like it is beginning.
Can you see it there?
I can see it, yes.
Okay,
So
thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody. I'm following two very, very intelligent people. So I'm a little nervous, and this is my first pitch deck competition. But I developed this particular company called the Lavender Farm, based out of necessity. I was born and raised in the Las Cruces area, and I was born with very, very sensitive skin. I was doing some postgraduate work in New Mexico State in the laboratory of microbiology. I always have to wash my hands. My hands will always get extremely dry, cracked. When you're dealing with bacteria and viruses, it's not good to have an open barrier for these to enter the body and cause an infection. So I decided I would always use the commercially available products that New Mexico State would provide, either Cetaphil or Lubriderm, and they worked, but they were way, way, way too heavy. And they really bothered me. I couldn't stand to have greasy, oily hands. So I said, you know what, I can develop my own. But what I did is I sought out to manufacture a product that would work. It would alleviate some of the dry, cracked skin, but it wouldn't leave my skin greasy or oily. So I could go ahead and either not have to wipe off the particular product I put on, and use a pen and satisfy my needs there as well. So I formed the Lavender Farm, which is it's a skincare company that deals with a magnanimous problem. Everybody has skin. Millions and millions and millions of people have the issues of eczema, acne. A lot of us have pain. A lot of us have issues associated with skin cancer and the like. I was developing these particular products. I would put it on some of the areas that I needed at severe dry skin, eczema type skin conditions. And a year or so later, it was gone. And a friend of mine, physician in the El Paso, Las Cruces area, and he was like, oh, for you to have that particular product work well, you need to get the top layer of dead skin cells that are no longer a particular product, or any product for that matter, off. You need some kind of a debriding device. So I came up with a skincare product, which is it was initially a salt scrub. Problem is, when you have an open cut to the skin, you're putting salt in, you're adding salt to the wound, and it burns. So I came up with a sugar scrub. You take the top layer of skin off, you're exfoliating, purifying, detoxifying the skin, because I also add activated charcoal. And then what you do is you flood it with moisture with the lotion particular products that I have, and the colloidal silver, and you're protecting against bacteria, viruses, adding antioxidants and the like. And I came up with this particular product in my kitchen. Well, one day I was a high-paid hospital executive. The next day I would let go. And I had 5 children, a wife that worked part-time, and 5 children. So I had to make this work. So I was remembering, I would give this particular product out to a lot of doctors and nurses, and they fell in love with it. They're like, Tom, you need to sell this stuff because I'll buy it. It works fantastic in healthcare. You always have to wash your hands, dry, cracked skin. And I was like, no, 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 no. But from one day to the next, when you're making a lot of money as a hospital executive to nothing, I said, you know what, I'm going to put these products to the test. And I started manufacturing, took about $750 out of my savings. I went out and bought a bunch of products. I already had the manufacturing of the base lotion and creams down. And I went and sold it in local farmers markets. I quickly grew sales. My first year in business, about 2015, my sales were, I'm sorry, I'm not keeping up with the slide presentation here. But my first year in business, I did roughly 1,500, and every year from that point on, the sales doubled, tripled, quadrupled. Next year, I did about 9,000, 25, 65,000. Then 2019, right before COVID hit, I was up to about $95,000. I increased. I had up to 5 distributors that had tried my particular product. It worked for them in different areas that they had some issues skin-wise, and they wanted to be a part of the kind of skincare revolution is what I call it. And I'm going to back up here and come back to the Lavender Farm. And is what this is. It's not just a lotion. Is what I have come up with is it is a skincare line that brings prescription strength products to skincare, combines them such that you have prescription strength products without the hassle of going to a doctor. For instance, all my cream-based products, anything that is water-based, the lotions, the creams, the pain creams, I all use colloidal silver. Colloidal silver is used in modern medicine in wound care. Silver is an absolutely fantastic antimicrobial, antiviral, antifungal agent, and I manufacture it myself. I then was also, I had to have surgery. Surgery went bad and I was paralyzed. I'm still paralyzed from my, basically on my right side from the knee down. Botched surgery, and I was taking tons and tons and tons of opioids. So I formerly had a job in the pharmaceutical industry, and one of the gentlemen who trained me, one of the smartest guys I know, he's a leading world expert compounding pharmacist in Las Vegas, Nevada. He would send me some stuff in the mail that had some of the THC particular products combined with the CBD. Unfortunately, THC-based products were not, and still not to this day, readily available to the general public. CBD became available. I put that particular product, CBD, in with my base with some of the other particular products, menthol, arnica oil, lidocaine, which is also used in modern medicine. And I was off of the opioid in a matter of a couple months, totally off of the ibuprofen and all the other analgesics for the pain I had, and that's all I was using. And I took this particular product to market, and I've sold just a ton of particular products with the CBD in it. My product line contains 2 CBD-based products. It's a Weekend Warrior, pain cream. I have a sugar scrub. I have a wrinkle cream, a body lotion, a linen spray, facial toner, and a Weekend Warrior roll-on. All these particular products contain ingredients that are used in modern medicine. For example, the sugar scrub has activated charcoal. Activated charcoal is used in modern medicine in the emergency room because it has a fantastic absorptive property. As it relates to the skin, the sugar scrub, the sugar exfoliates the exterior of the skin. The activated charcoal binds to anything and everything it comes in contact with. Bacteria, viruses, toxins from the environment, and you remove it. Then is what you do is you add in either the wrinkle cream or the lotion, which has about 8 different moisturizers, antioxidants, and I also add in colloidal silver. Like I said, colloidal silver is used in modern medicine, but you need a prescription for that particular product, and it is one of the best antibacterial, anti-infective products on the market. I manufacture it myself. I make every single one of these products myself. So the products and the company structure is extremely. I was doing this myself for about 95% of the time, but I was growing so fast, I needed help. That's when I brought on, my wife I've been married to for 25 years, as well as Michael Perkins. He's the Chief Operating Officer, Chief Financial Officer, and Randy Gomez. He's our national salesperson to go out and as we grow this particular product, scale the ability to handle larger orders, and sell via e-commerce to increase sales, nationwide. If you take a look at the screen
Tom,
now.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't mean to cut in, but we passed the 5-minute warning quite a bit ago. So we need to move over to the judges.
Okay.
Thank you. Judges, if you are ready, we can move into the Q&A portion.
Tom, great presentation, great energy, and appreciate your need for this product and that you are providing the product. Could you walk us forward if you think about this as a company beyond just the products, and tell us kind of what your dream or your vision is as a company, how you'd make money for investors and what this would look like for employees and so forth?
Yeah, what we're going to be doing is, I'm looking for some seed money. I'm trying to go the non-conventional route, and is what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that particular money. I'm going to go out and invest in some to increase my website availability, as well as go out and get a contract manufacturer, because the orders that are coming in now, I am making it and fulfilling those orders myself. I just can't handle the volume. I need to be able to handle the volume. Once I can do that, we're going to put some money into the e-commerce route, as well as a way more professional website than I currently have. And we should see sales grow. As it relates to the company structure, I should be adding a salesperson or two to help the e-commerce area and all the different social media outlets to get the word out there. Try and keep this as lean as we possibly can and not get a lot of infrastructure. I'm going to try and not have a manufacturing plant nor a place where I need to warehouse it. That's where the contract manufacturer that I'm speaking to now is going to manufacture the product, ship the products. Is what we'll do is via the website and e-commerce, we'll take in orders. We will process those orders and get them shipped out. We can track them and then do customer service throughout the whole process.
Tom, I have a question.
Yes.
So does the product have any patentable materials inside of it or any proprietary ingredients? And have you taken steps to protect any of the ingredients so far?
I have not taken any steps at this particular point. That's where I need help as well, which some of the seed money would go for as well. Is I need help in finding out what is patent protected in formulations, because I do have proprietary formulas that I have been approached by 2 other companies that either want to buy the actual formulas or they want me to manufacture for them, kind of private label the particular product. Because unfortunately, one of the slides, I get a little too, it's the first time I've ever done a pitch competition. I get a little excited, but my margins are absolutely huge. I make a product of lotion or cream for about $1 to $2 to $3, and I sell it anywhere from $40 to $75. So there's a lot of room in there where I can go out and get some help from like you. I was on one of your presentations about a week or 2 ago, and I was extremely impressed, and I want to get a hold of you such that you can help me out and protect some of these particular products. Vast majority of the people that try them worked, it's affordable. And from an investor standpoint, if you look at the margins on my pitch deck, which I didn't get to in a timely fashion, but when you can go out there and make a product for $2, $3 all in, and you sell it for $50, $75, the margins are absolutely huge. So I need to protect it so I can go out and get a fantastic return for the people that want to invest in me, because like I said, it's made a huge difference for me. It's made a life-altering change for thousands of people out there, and it can be a huge, investment return for investors.
This is Griselda. From the strategy that you have implemented to now, how are you gonna see that different in the next 2 years, 5 years, to get you to be where you want to be then as you grow the company?
Yeah, good question. The majority of my sales right now, which I had on there briefly, which are fairly robust, and the majority of those sales are wholesale, is we're done locally, as well as pretty much a GoDaddy website. So I need to have a lot better presence on the internet, as well as increase my e-commerce visibility with testimonials, with getting on all the different social media, Instagram, Amazon Handmade, Facebook, they have a platform, Shopify, all those, and just do a blast marketing and get with as much energy and positivity and show people that these particular products are different. It's not just a lotion, it's not just a, these are prescription strength without the hassle of going to a doctor, and people are seeing results. See results whenever they invest as well, because my margins are absolutely huge.
Oh, go ahead, Dan.
Oh, so I was just going to ask, and it's sort of building off the last question, if you could speak a little bit to marketing strategy, potential channel marketing, and really how you carve out a distinct brand, because it's become a much more competitive kind of crowded landscape. And I think that a lot of it comes down to how you position and place the brand, in the market to be different from what else is out there. And I saw that you had a comparison of different products, but I'd love your thoughts on how you implement that marketing strategy.
Good question. And what my target market and my marketing strategy is going to be going mainly after women. Women make the vast majority of all healthcare decisions, as well as purchasing decisions, as well as skincare, beauty type decisions, and really targeting the fact that it has lavender. Lavender is extremely, extremely popular, not only as a scent, but antibacterial and some of those other properties that it brings into play. Also going after some of the areas that ailments that people have. I'm not going totally after the entire huge beauty market. I'm going to go mainly for areas that like the acne, the eczema, the pain market. And how I'm going to differentiate is I'm going to bring prescription strength products without having to go to the doctor. There's not a single lineup out there that has all the particular products, ingredients that I have that actually make a difference and target the major decision maker. I went on those particular areas where you can get prescription strength without having to go to a doctor, all at the click of hopefully go on my website or see me on one of the social media e-commerce sites and order from there.
We are in our final minute. So judges, do you have any final thoughts?
I had one really quick question. You mentioned a contract manufacturer. Where are they located?
The one that I'm really hot on right now is Aromaland in Santa Fe. And I'm contacting them, and as well as one of the companies that wanted to buy my formula and or license my particular formula. They're in talks with them right now to manufacture some of their products, and they would be interested.
Thank you so much.
As well.
Thank you so much, Tom. Great presentation. Now, judges, as always, please go and submit your scores. We're going to be moving on to our next presenter, Yoon Lee with Nob Hill Technologies. Nob Hill Therapeutics, also referred to as NHT, is commercializing a first-of-its-kind dry powder nebulizer technology known as DryNeb TM by developing effective inhalation therapies to treat deadly lung infections. Yoon, please go ahead, and it looks like you're already sharing. Wonderful. So are you ready to go?
Yes.
Great. I am going to go ahead and start the timer. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for your time in advance. My name is Yoon Lee, and I'm the CEO of Nob Hill Therapeutics. We licensed the technology from University of New Mexico about 3 years ago. So the company located in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and we develop inhalation therapies to treat lung diseases. And currently, the company is supported by seed investors and the NIH grants. We are actually actively seeking $500K to $1 million bridge fund to take us to the Series A financing. Four of the team members we have this experienced team, and 4 of them has many years of experience in inhalation drug delivery, veteran and expert. The executive chairman, Paul Atkin, he started his own inhalation drug delivery company called Oreo in the early 2000. And he exited the company 2011 to Novartis. And our leader in the advisory board, John, he retired. He had worked on all the large inhalation drug delivery company as executives in his 40 years career. And he has developed 12 inhalation products currently on the market, have his fingerprints on them. So why inhalation drug delivery, right? It is a huge market. There are about 300 million cases of lower respiratory infection worldwide, kill about 3 million people every year. It is 5th leading cause of all death. This does not include the deadly lung cancer and other diseases. So there are great need for effective respiratory disease treatment. And the pandemic, COVID-19, amplifies the issues, the challenge, and the importance and urgencies to have effective inhalation drug delivery system and the therapies. To better manage the lung disease, there are increased focus on inhalation drug delivery. The reason is that to improve efficacy and reduce side effect, to increase the drug lung concentration at the infection site. The side effect of these antibiotics and the antifungal and the antiviral drugs are deadly sometimes. So sometimes patient has to stop the medicine because side effect. There's just some notes. US alone, 40,000 people die every year because of drug side effect. But the current inhalation drug delivery platform are suboptimal. We all know dry powder inhaler and conventional nebulizer, but they all have its own limitations. I've just show you a quick clip on how the dry powder inhaler worked. Oops.
The inhaler to get the dose ready. After a breath out, place your mouth around the device and take a powerful pull of air in until you are full. Hold your breath for up to 10 seconds.
Apparently, the dry powder inhaler is not for everybody and require a lot of patient effort. So patient compliance is also an issue. This is a nebulizer.
Attach the top piece to the medicine cup and then the mouthpiece or mask. Connect the tubing from the compressor to the medicine cup.
For dry powder nebulizer, based on the name, you can guess it's combined advantage of both dry powder inhaler, which can develop potent drug dose in a short time, and the nebulizer, which is quite easy to use for all kind of patient population, old and young. And so for dry powder nebulizer, you put in the canister, that's the drug, and you push the button, you put the mouthpiece, push the button, you just breathe. And the short, work like dry powder inhaler without patient effort, and it can deliver a much higher dose like nebulizer without take 5 minutes to 30 minutes of the time. So this is a summary of the advantage. So the market opportunity is huge. 2018, the worldwide market is about 25 billion, but only a very small portion of this market is for the inhalation, antifungal, antibacterial treatment, no respiratory infection. The successful development of our platform will expand the market. For example, our first product in development is antifungal treatment. We have made excellent progress in animal study, and this first of its kind inhalation antifungal treatment will help about 25 million patients. The inhalation treatment can be very expensive. our business strategy is to repurposing FDA-approved drugs. By doing that, we can reduce the manufacturing as well as developmental cost. It will give us the pricing and the profit advantage as we go to market. Our business strategy has threefold. First of all, we have to take a few products to the market or to a clinical trial. Second, we wanted to build a product pipeline, 2 or 3 of these to build the company values. And the third, as we mature the platform, we will engage large companies for strategic partnership as well as potential acquirers. So the overarching goal of the strategy is really to build the business value for exit. So this is recent exit examples. It's shown great upside. None of these companies has finished clinical trial and have obtained FDA approval before the exit companies. And we have made excellent progress in both device design. We have actually 2nd generation prototype and animal study result. With sufficient funding, we expect to go to IND-enabled study this year and a clinical trial study later next year or second year. And the 500,000 I'm talking about is a bridge round to help us achieve a few key milestones I listed here. Most important, we really need to engage FDA to obtain our IND applications and clinical study guidelines. So in summary, Nob Hill have first of its kind, this is really first of its kind inhalation drug delivery platform that is highly advantageous to treat lung diseases. The platform and Nob Hill's business strategy will lower the developmental cost and shorten the developmental timeline, which will build attractive values for investors. I will stop here. Thank you so much for your attention, and I can take questions.
Great. We'll open the floor back to the judges.
I've got a quick question. You mentioned, building the NHC therapy pipeline through non-dilutive funding. I was wondering if you could just quickly clarify what you meant there by the non-dilutive part. And then also, so if this succeeds, is that part of this doing contract products for other companies? And just curious if that has been identified yet, who those companies might be.
Okay, first question, non-dilutive funding normally from a government grant and maybe CF foundations. And so talk about a government grant. Our first product development is partially supported by the NIH for the antifungal treatment. And we are looking at other antibiotic treatment. One of them is called non-tuberculosis mycobacteria. It's a very difficult disease to treat. Patients take 1 to 2 years antibiotics, 4 of them, right? It's huge inconvenience, as well as the toxicity is incredible. So yeah, mostly NIH grant, that's what we go after for different indications, normally focus on orphan disease indications. Your second question is, yes, when we do our drug formulation, we use contract manufacturers, as well as when we starting doing, actually last step is to do our device development and prototyping ready for clinical trial with two contract manufacturers as well.
I have a quick question. So you have the dry powder and the nebulizer, which are each FDA approved. So by combining those two, do you have to get a new FDA approval, or is there a fast track because you already have 2 that are FDA approved and you're basically combining the 2?
Okay, so our device is not FDA approved. That's the first of its kind, right? The drug itself is FDA approved for systematic use. For inhalation delivery, for different delivery method, you have to obtain FDA approval as well. So we definitely will have to go to FDA.
What is the typical financing required to go through that for a device?
So device quote we have is about $1 to $1.5 million, just device itself to get from a design stage to a prototyping, manufacturing enough unit for clinical trial study. That's just device side. On the clinical side, because the particular drug and the indication we selected, and for antifungal drug we selected already have a lot offline, they call off-label use. For inhalation, they use nebulizer. Off-label use, so FDA, so doctor just use it. So we have plenty toxicities and dosage data. So that clinical trial will be cheaper and faster, depending on how we talk to FDA, because they have a lot of experience in this already.
And this is Grisela Martinez. Is there any, from combining two existing products, is there any intellectual property you can protect there?
Yes, very good question. That's exactly what we talked about this morning about we actually can combine our asset, which is the drug itself, with existing FDA-approved device. We can patent that, and we can use that to go to clinical trial. Once we have a device finished, we can cut into it. That's the strategy we might adopt to use for clinical study. To speed things up, basically. We don't want to wait.
Quick question, looking at the proportional size of lower respiratory infections as part of the market, if you're looking at specific indications within that slice, do you foresee any challenge getting sufficient sample size to progress through clinical trials, or have you thought about those study structures yet? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
The second part, no, I don't. But first part, there are plenty of patients we could use, the clinical patient. And the reason, that's my speculation, why we have so few, totally have like 4 or 5 products on the market to treat the 100 different infections in lung, right? It's just because, first of all, FDA is very stringent, very strict on approved device. You have to have a very clever, very good clinical design study and all that. Second is, none of the existing delivery platform, talk about dry powder inhaler and the nebulizer, like I said, they're suboptimal, right? So they can dry powder inhaler can only deliver a very small amount of drug, only can generate so you need to take right now the product on the market, you need to do 4 doses for each treatment, just because each time they can only deliver little, right? They're not efficient. For nebulizer, it have to be liquid, soluble API, that's limitation. Also, current nebulizer is bulky. You stay there for half hour, you have to clean, and just very difficult. Yes, you can deliver long dose, you can just stay there for an hour or half hour to get it, but it's not very convenient. All this together, that's just my speculation. There are so few antibiotic, antiviral, antifungal treatment, inhalation treatment on the market.
Great, thanks.
But patient is abundant. There's so many patients.
We are into our last minute, so if any judges have any final thoughts. All right, looks like we're good. Yoon, thank you so much for your presentation. Great work. Judges, please submit your scores, and we're going to move to our next presenter, Sam Sandoval with Wait Offer, a real estate online platform that first focuses on the offer submission process. Their entrance is by working on streamlining the offer presentation from broker to broker with a built-in calculator for multiple offers and 21 innovation steps alike, creating transparency and a fair play sandbox for all parties involved, buyer, seller, and both their brokers. This looks like, Sam, you already have your presentation on screen. Are you ready to get started?
Yes. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you just fine. I'm going to go ahead and start the timer, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Welcome to OfferWait, an all-in-one real estate platform built by a real estate broker for real estate agents and the like. My name is Sam Sandoval. I'm a real estate broker from Albuquerque, New Mexico, licensed for almost 20 years. In my career, we're taught common practice, but from my findings over time, it's actually not so common. We're taught procedure and ethics of how to follow steps to protect our clients and play fairly in a sandbox. But what I've seen in this sandbox is that it's not so fair, and procedure can be broken. So I built this program, OfferWait, a real estate software tool that specializes and focuses on procedure and common practice, making it common. To start, we've included all the essential parties of the real estate transaction, buyers, sellers, and their brokers. Our goal is to focus on transparency and fixing the broken communication between all. Our solution, a single platform to bring all walks of life and real estate together in one place. Simply put, clicking the real estate community together. We start by streamlining the offer process as our first door to open and add to it over time to reach the entire transaction and beyond. We will include all vendors and partners that stretch out past the branches of submission and bring in the biggest lead generating revenue building platform real estate has yet to see. From title companies to plumbers and everything in between, they will all be a part of our system. We will encompass the MLS from towns to cities to states and eventually the country, a goal all platforms are currently trying to achieve, but we have the magic, friendliness. In our current prototype, we have been graciously provided the API listing data feed from the largest MLS system in the state of New Mexico, GAR. Every broker has the ability to locate their listing, claim their listing, and link up with their seller. Now it's time to start receiving offers. As you can see, we can display the number of offers to the public. This allows the person making an offer to make an educated decision as to how they may structure their offer. We will soon be able to tell the public the terms of the offer, which will revolutionize the industry and provide a much fairer playing ground. Imagine not hearing the words, "Come in with your highest and best offer." Anyone who has bought and sold real estate recently, especially now, knows how this sounds. It's like nails on a chalkboard. Clients and their brokers will be mirrored together. We've developed a special management section of offers where the client and their broker can manage them appropriately, making it easier for all parties to see what's going on in real time. Our special calculator helps sellers know their proceeds immediately upon offer arrival and saving the listing broker countless hours of time, and the convenience is just off the charts. Because we all know offers come in at all hours, and this eliminates the need to drop everything you're doing and present to the seller right then and there. We calculate the proceeds on every offer that arrives and for every counteroffer that changes. Our secret sauce is procedure that we already use. We save the brokers from doing it manually through email. The ability to set up the multiple offer deadline, rejections, withdrawals, edits, counters, acceptances, terminations, closing, the list just goes on. It's no longer by slow email. This is such a game changer, not to mention the transparency for all parties. Imagine being able to see what's going on, whether you're a client or another broker in real time, plus access your documents in case you forgot. Our business model is simple. We start with a small $95 per transaction service fee paid at closing. Imagine every house sold. Not really different than that of a termite inspection fee, so it's not noticeable at the closing table and it just grows from there. We will charge membership fees for leads and provide many other cool tools that will come with premiums. We will have cool advertising ideas for all parties involved, and the list just keeps growing. Our competitive advantage is that we never break the client-broker relationship. We simply enhance it. OfferWait will really respect the need and the experience of a broker. We're simply a tool of freedom to help use and help brokers do what they already do and just do it better and easier. There's nothing to learn. It's what we already do. This is a key factor for brokerage companies that no longer need to train basic procedure to their new brokers, and existing brokers will just save time. We keep a friendly environment from the company to the brokers and everyone in between. Our team is comprised of myself, Sam Sandoval, and our web developer, Ryan Caruso, based out of Glastonbury, Connecticut, with lots of web development experience. We're looking for an investor and a team that can help take us to the exponential level in a journey that we have only dreamed of, a journey of helping others, a journey that can bring so much to our states and country. This has the potential to go global. thank you guys so much for your interest, and I'll leave it open for questions.
Yeah, we'll move right back to opening up the floor to the judges.
Hi, Sam. Thank you for your presentation. Really
Thanks.
interesting. Two quick, one clarifying, one other question. Just on, from what I believe the technology is, people can submit the offer and then everyone knows what's being offered. What if they submit a very low offer and all you're getting is low things? And so is there a cap on the bottom is my first question.
So our goal is to not over control things. And we're going to give freedom to the seller and the listing broker to be able to adjust the toggle, if you will, to provide those terms to the public. And in our listing agreements right now, we have the ability as brokers to divulge terms from our sellers if we choose to. That's where the seller will go back to their broker and say, is it a good idea to do this or not? Offer weight is just the tool to be able to do that to the public. So for example, to answer your question is really a strategy question that you would ask your broker as to if it's a good idea. A good idea being if you're already over list price and you're in a multiple offer market like we are today, it's a good idea to tell the public what offers are on the table and what those offers in terms are, because then you're just going to drive up the price even higher and you're not going to basically make people angry on the buying side. They're going to understand what's going on. If you have a low offer, then that's a strategy you work with your broker as well. And you wouldn't necessarily divulge the terms because you want to use the number. We just provide the number right away, the quantity. That's all that we do up front.
Great. And I just had a quick follow-up. Is it just price, or are there other things like all cash, quick close, right? Because there's many different variables other than price.
So on our offer submission form, we basically summarize the purchase contract to take in a lot of those measures, whether it's cash, financing, owner financing, and then many other terms like dates, notifications that we send out, everything else within the purchase contract. We're able to house that within offer weight, and the parties can go back to it if you have that private information. So if you're a buyer on your own property, you can go in, you can see the offer that you wrote, and you can also see the terms and everything with it. The public won't be able to see all that private information. It's basically just the quantity and the price and the type of offer, cash, financing, etc.
This is Beto. I have a couple of questions to help me clarify. What stage is the product in now? Is it broker ready, or
we're
what
currently,
development has to be?
We're seconds away from being able to put it out into the market, and so right now we basically just have a prototype built. You can see the majority of the functionality of how it works, how it will work. And we've been able to test it or demo it, if you will, with a lot of brokers around New Mexico or really the city of Albuquerque. And we've had nothing but amazing feedback. When I talk to the consumers, what the biggest question or the biggest response that we've received from them is that, what do you mean this doesn't exist already? You know, and that's kind of what we want to hear.
Okay. So to that point, what doesn't exist already? What is protectable? Because there's several hundred, apps that a broker could download, right? So
That's
what is
right.
protectable?
So as we grow, we will be working with a bunch of AI information. So the data that we collect, we're able to protect that. That's our intellectual property. And then what we do with that and the AI that we can create going out, the data that we send out, that's what we have so unique to us. The biggest step is, and I know a lot of our competitors, especially the big companies that are out there right now, they have broken that client relationship with the brokers. And so we will protect it at all times. And we will always protect the broker and their client. We're just going to be a tool to help them do what they already do better.
So I don't know if you have like a financing ask that you're contemplating? Do you have a sense of what that would be?
Yeah, I'm looking for about $500,000 with $50,000 or $100,000 increment milestones. Since we are in the prototype stage, it would be nice for us to be able to build this out so far and be able to put out in the market more than what we currently have. That way we can compete with the bigger guys and reach other cities and other states much faster, because our pace to market is very important.
Sam, you list in your last slide that you're looking for business partners. What type of business partners would you be looking for?
Ultimately, the resources that somebody can provide to us to keep the other big sharks out of the water. I feel like maybe my knowledge may only go so high. I'm a real estate agent. This is what I do from the ground up. I've been doing it a long time. And somebody that can help us get the funding that we need, enter the markets that we need to, and really just try and keep the competition aside, if you will.
To build off of that, just a question: how would you keep the competition aside? So aside from being a first-time homeowner since October, I have very little experience in this, and so how would partnering with someone like that achieve that goal?
So the competition is really just being paced to market and one step ahead. There's a reason why the other big guys have gotten there and they've kept everybody else out. We have a secret going from the inside out versus the outside in. Right now, one of the things that we're doing is that we've received an API data feed from the MLS, and that's no different than a lot of the other big guys already have. One step that we can recreate is actually recreate the MLS itself. The data that we collect in and the participation that we get from the brokers, that data we can hold on to. We can also recreate the MLS, which stops the data feed and the APIs going out to all the other big guys.
What other data points are brought in besides just the MLS? Just because, with building a business based on an API, you're always subject to the API changing, and then all of a sudden you lose access to that data.
That's right. So one of our goals is actually not to be reliant on that API feed forever. So we would like to recreate that. So now we hold all the data and all the information ourselves. Once we get the participation from the brokers, the sellers, and really the trust from the market, now we can start to recreate that. For example, like adding your own listing. Now sellers, we can reach the consumer before they've already reached the broker. That's really the key. So if we reach the consumer before they got to the broker, now we can follow them and provide that lead to the broker and eventually become a lead generation site too. Then we own the data and we don't need the API feed anymore.
And when you're reviewing your customer base, what do you think is more important here, or who do you think this benefits more, especially to have public offers? Is it the homeowner or is it the buyer? Because my concern, owning a home or getting some of that public information about, hey, this house has a few defects in it, and now we have to disclose that openly to the market. Does that disincentivize high sales prices?
So one of the things that I constantly go back to, and I had this happen to me with one of the larger sites, is that I was trying to sell one of the investments that we owned, and the property history, especially for being, I don't know if you're familiar with New Mexico, but we're a non-disclosure state, which means that we don't have to disclose the sale prices to the public. But now that there's so much information out there, a lot of bigger companies are providing that information to the public. OfferWait's goal is never to hinder the ability of the seller or the broker. So we will give the seller the ability to share the information that they would like. We just provide the tool for them constantly. We don't want to break that. And being a non-disclosure state, we can also have an anonymous listing for them too.
All right, we are entering the final minute. If anyone has any closing comments, let us know.
Thank you, guys. It's really an honor.
Thank you, Sam. Great presentation. All right, judges, please continue to submit your scores. And we're going to move on to our final presenter, Danielle Duran, with Quotient. Quotient's mission is to move markets into the consciousness of impact. They make product externalities visible by tracking emissions in near real time at the level of production through supply chains from extraction to final use. The Quotient platform is a machine learning driven software that enables the creation of differentiated commodities with ESG performance directly priced in. Danielle, please go ahead and share your presentation on screen. And once you're ready to go, I will go ahead and start the timer. All right, I can see it. Are you ready to go?
Ready. Thank you.
Great.
Hi.
I'm starting the timer now.
Hello, I'm Danielle Duran, head of data science and co-founder of Quotient. We're living in unprecedented times. Many of us are asking ourselves what really matters when it comes down to it. If you're like me, you might answer safety, security for my family, my neighbors, my community, and my planet. So why is it that we have yet to aggressively tackle the existential threat posed by climate change? 50 billion tons of CO2 are emitted globally annually. We have yet to find a market-based solution that meets the need of all market participants. Until now, Quotient quantifies, tracks emissions throughout commodities supply chains. We're starting with natural gas and methane emissions within the energy sector. Because methane warms the atmosphere 86 times more than CO2, this represents an enormous potential for impact. We're focusing first in the energy sector. What you're seeing in this visual is a flyover detection of methane emissions. Well A is venting emissions unrestricted, and well B is not venting any methane. Logically, there should be a price differential. Well B has more sustainably produced gas. That doesn't currently exist. That doesn't make sense though. At the supermarket, you know you should pay more for an organic apple. It's more sustainably produced. The reason that can't happen right now is because of the monitoring, verification, and reporting process, or MRV. The current process is manual, inefficient, costly, and riddled with uncertainty, up to plus or minus 500%. Our digital MRV process uses near real-time production data from the extreme edge. We apply our novel abstracted analytics process to that data, along with ESG standards to create new value. It lends itself to compliance and financial reporting. What this ultimately does, though, is it creates the potential for differentiation of these assets, these commodities. So differentiation is the monitoring, measuring, and monetization of production characteristics across the supply chain. In natural gas, you're able to now say, well, A has these attributes for the molecules it produced versus well B. Electrons are all the same when you turn those into electricity, right? The difference is how they're produced. There's an enormous difference in the emissions profile between coal-generated electric and the electricity generated from a field of solar panels. So we need to be able to prove and track a cleaner energy stream. Power utilities, for example, need to provide stable electricity while avoiding rolling brownouts and blackouts, such as that of what we saw in Texas. They also need to prove reduced emissions in the gas they buy. Both of those goals are achieved when you burn low environmental impact gas to create differentiated firm power. We call this wellhead to wall socket. We're currently in talks with many producers, many utilities. One I want to mention in particular is the largest buyer of natural gas in the world, or one of the largest buyers. We quantify and track and characterize emissions throughout each step of the supply chain, from upstream all the way down to the consumer. We do this using our impact intelligence process. It's really simple. We have data that is already out there. Producers are tracking how much gas they produce right? So we combine that with other sources of data, aerial data, satellite data. We apply our patented trademarked process of abstracted universal data models to that data to create different bundles of data, which depending on the customer look different. So, but one key product is that differentiated commodity, right? So now we can value that molecule of gas differently. And that's where we're starting. It's not where we're stopping. Our digital MRV revalues water next, mining, agriculture, because our data models are universal and flexible. These represent huge total addressable markets. Commodities and their derivatives represent over $30 trillion per year. So our revenue stream is PaaS, platform as a service, and transactional revenue. We get paid from producers, electricity providers, bankers, and insurers who want to be able to realize a company's real-time carbon liability and risk, price reporting agencies, and financial institutions. The revenue potential here is huge because this is a software play and because of our scalability. Even a few cents per unit per transaction results in billions of dollars of monthly revenue quite quickly. And these numbers here I'll mention are just for 3 submarkets: natural gas, crude, and power, up a single point in the supply chain. We execute on this vision with our team. We've been in this space for several years now. We know what we're doing. We know how to build our platform, and we know what customers need and want. We have key advantages over the 1 or 2 direct competitors that are out there. Our expertise, the blend of statistics, physics, computer science, and domain expertise, allows us to create products that have less than 3% uncertainty compared to that 500% uncertainty, right? We do this in partnership with key actors in the environmental space, ACT, ADEM, EDF. At Quotient, we're differentiating the future for a healthy planet, sustainable community, and secured existence. Thank you.
Be opening the floor back up to the judges.
So, I have a question. How did your team get together?
Serendipitously, my co-founder, Jason Liburski, has been working in oil and gas for at least 10 years, and he's got a background in computational physics. And he recruited me 4 years ago. We began working together on this project. He already had several of the other team members already assembled. And what bonds us and drives us really is this shared vision that you can take data that are already out there and apply a simple analytical technique to them, and then bundle that for sale. This is a simple solution to an enormous issue.
So for the producers, can you speak a little bit as to what would be the value proposition if it would change pricing of the assets they were trying to sell or the power that they were generating? I mean, what is really the value to them for implementing this across their infrastructure?
Yeah, so producer, do you mean like a natural gas producer or like electric utility company?
Natural gas producer, let's say.
Yeah, so that's an easier question to answer because there are many, many benefits if you're a nat gas producer, right? So on the supply side, you're increasing efficiency. You're not like leaking methane, which is your product. And then if you already are a more sustainable producer, having your gas on our platform and creating a digital differentiated version of that allows you to have a premium attached to your gas. So no longer it's X cost per MMBTU, it's X plus premium on the MMBTU, right? So you make money there as well. And you have more accuracy in your ESG reporting. It's done simply. You don't have to do it yourself with like top-down data once a year. You can do it on demand, quarterly if you like. And because your uncertainty is shrunk from 500% to less than 3%, now you can create an asset financial grade ranking. Insurance companies can give you more favorable rates. Banks can give you more favorable rates. If your carbon liability is huge and you can't prove it's not, you might not get insured in the future. You might not be given a loan to do new exploration.
Good answer, thank you.
May I ask who your competitors are? You mentioned there were 2 or 3 of them. Who else is playing in this area?
Yeah, so there's one main competitor, Context Labs, Spherical Analytics is their name. They're an ESG platform. They don't have the same type of data that we do, and they don't do any analytics on that data. So they do a small portion. Yeah, I mean, the competitors, there's really a smattering of different people that do pieces of what we do, but they don't bring it all into one cohesive platform with our patented, trademarked technology and analytic process.
And I guess, so why do you think that is? Is it just that you guys are first, or is it your team? What let you guys do it all first before anyone else? Or yeah, like how did you end up to be here?
Yeah, that's a really great question. And I'm going to say it's stubbornness. It's, Jason, like the idea came to him many, many moons ago when he was in college. He said, why should we ignore externalities? That doesn't make sense. And so he's been pushing this, harping on it for years and really trying to push the market and make the market. The market has not been quite ready, but we have been in this space for 5 years, working on making it a little bit more ready. So it's really, what does it take to have that spark, that genius idea? It doesn't occur very often, but it occurred to one of my co-founders, and we find ourselves first in this space because of that. Other people are coming around to the idea that, oh, wow, we really need to get on this bandwagon and do ESG quantification and reporting. And why are standards so poor? Any ESG standard you try to look at is not comparable across companies.
This is Beto. When you said a couple of times patented, trademarked, is there a distinction between patented and trademarked? Do you have a patent or do you have a trademark or both?
Oh, we have 9 trademarks and we are patenting our process.
Okay. If I was a company looking to hire this service, how do you deliver it? What's the business model? How much do you anticipate I would pay for it?
That's a difficult question to answer because it depends on what product you have and what the market rate of that product is. It's going to be very little. You're not going to pay a ton for this. And in the current projects I'm talking about, the producers are not paying anything.
Okay. Who's your ideal customer and what would be your ideal business model and pricing mechanics for them?
Yeah, that's a really good question. A lot of times when I talk about this, people are like, oh, so you're just in oil and gas. Like, no, that's where we're starting, but we want to move into like other spaces. We need to look at produced water, and there are like many areas we need to tackle emissions, right? So, but from the platform we have right now, ideal customers would be large buyers of natural gas and large utility producers. And those utilities in particular that already have a keen eye for net zero 2040 or carbon neutral 2040 goals, such as local utility producers here, nationwide though. And really, we're not limited to companies within the United States. This is a platform that anyone can jump on as long as their data meet our standards. And the pricing model depends. So on what service they want. Platform as a service just depends on how much data they're going to onboard, because then there's a cost for us, right, to have that data processed and ran through our system. And then what product they want also influences how much they will pay and how much we will make. Some companies might want just the ESG reporting aspect. They just want us to onboard the data and spit out their carbon intensity once per year. That's going to be different than someone who's continuously feeding us data in and creating a digital version of their natural gas and then pushing it to the market every day. And then once it sells, then we have a fee per transaction.
Thank you.
Danielle, many of our presenters today have something that does well for the world, but I think you're the one who most explicitly calls that out, right? Do you want to speak to your company being an impact-driven company and triple bottom line, and so judges really understand kind of how you do well and do good?
Yeah, I think for me, this is really a passion-driven project. I haven't taken a paycheck in a year. I got laid off unexpectedly. I thought, like, what am I gonna do? We really want to be in this space because not only does this benefit like every human on the planet, but we can also revolutionize an enormously old like sector here, energy production, that needs to be revolutionized and transition. We can do so in an intuitive way that also positively impacts society. We're moving from just the E in ES&G to incorporate S and G components. I'm especially pushing on that because I come from a background in sociology and social justice. So you can take a look at what's the impact of having this sort of power generation located next to this type of community and bring those attributes into play too. And we are being very, very picky about the types of investors we take at Quotient. This could get funded like months ago, but we don't, no, that's not where our values are. We really want to have impact investors, angel investors, VCs that don't just care about what are your monthly returns this quarter or quarterly returns, so where are you also moving towards in those universal data models that bring in social impacts? How are you meeting those long-term goals? That's it. And my co-founders, Travis and Jason, all of us on the team are aligned in that mission.
Danielle, this is Griselda. From the existing current regulatory perspective, is this the best time for success for you, or would you require changes in that framework?
Yeah, that's a really good question. We get asked that one a lot. Our platform is capital markets based, so regardless of the political atmosphere, we will make money. And everyone who hops on the platform will make money as well. And the key here is that regulation has not worked on its own for a reason. There's always a loophole. So instead, our platform allows businesses to get rewarded for the good work that they're already doing. It just makes sense. And that's regardless of who's in office or what country we're looking at too, right? Because those dynamics are certainly in play all the time.
Great. Well, we are in our final minute. If any of the judges have any final comments. Okay.
I have a question on the competitors. You focus that there are only 2 to 3, but because oil and gas is such a regulatory or regulated space, because so many people care about emissions, is it really that there are only 2 to 3 competitors, or is it just 2 to 3 that are doing the specific part that you're doing?
Yeah, there are only 2 or 3, well, 2 main ones that have a platform that could be labeled as like ES&G quantification. So I guess I should clarify that. But there's not anyone that does what we do, or even close.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Danielle. Appreciate it. Great presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you, judges. Please go ahead and submit your scores, which means we are nearing the end here. We're now going to take a few moments to gather scores from the judges and go ahead and determine our winners. Now, while we wait for those scores to be tabulated, I wanted to say that if you want to keep up with the Arrowhead Innovation Fund on social media, you can follow @Arrowhead Fund for Twitter, as well as Arrowhead Innovation Fund on both Facebook and LinkedIn. So now we're just waiting for the scores to come in. Also invite any final comments by the judges if any judges are finished submitting their scores.
Yeah, I'll just say those were, all great presentations, and yeah, this was a really interesting afternoon, but great panel presenters.
This was a delight. Thank you.
Want to give a shout out to our MC who did a fantastic job and was grace under pressure, and that's not always easy when doing a big tech event. So well done, but incredibly well-run event from Arrowhead Innovation Fund. an incredible, very solid job by all 6 presenters. This was a really tough task as a judge. And what I'm most excited about is that I think I see 6 budding entrepreneurs that are really going to make a difference to New Mexico, that really can do some great businesses, hire good jobs, and really help the state be known. So at New Mexico Angels, we're very committed, and we look forward to keeping to hear about your growth and your next steps. And we look forward to working with these other judges to help make that happen.
Thank you so much.
I echo
Drew.
that, and I would also say that I think what you witnessed was the variability of talent across various industries and levels of, technology prowess and business models that are evident in the state of New Mexico.
Thank you, Beto. Looks like the results are coming in. Just making sure we have them in the correct order. All right, wonderful. We have our winners. So, 3rd place is going to Weight Offer. Congratulations, Weight Offer. Congratulations, Sam. 2nd place goes to Quotient. Congratulations. Can't quite relive the applause experience on Zoom, unfortunately. And finally, 1st place is going to Upcycle Power. I think you're allowed to unmute yourself if you'd like to celebrate.
I would like to celebrate. This is amazing. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I feel like if I was at the Oscars, I would have a speech prepared. Thank you all so much. I'm so excited. As I said, we've made so much progress in the year. We've got a great team, and we've had so much support from Arrowhead all the way along. So thank you all so much. Oh my God.
Congratulations again,
Thank you.
Sydney. And congratulations all our winners. Congratulations to our presenters. And before we end, we just want to thank you all. Thank you to the judges. Thank you to participants for your hard work. And thank you to the audience for joining us today. We really appreciate you taking the time and spending your evening with us. And also a major thanks to our sponsors, O&L Patents, Blanco, Ordonez, Mata, and Weschler, Vela Wood, and New Mexico Angels. Thank you very much for your support of this program. And for more information about AIF, I mentioned social media already, but also please go and visit AIFVC.com. That's going to conclude this program. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. And congratulations again to our winners and our presenters. Great work, everyone.